In today's episode of The Convention Creatives.
What the I'm not gonna feel bad because you're working anyway. That person should log out. Yes, you manipulative.
Welcome back, Conventioneers, to the Convention Creatives, the podcast where we unpack the Artist Alley, the convention floors, and today, the internet's most unhinged stories.
That's right, I'm PB, the petty bear, ready to judge people from the safety of my office, I guess.
And I'm Jay, serving passive-aggressive realness with just a dash of empathy. Today, we're diving back into Reddit stories, specifically Am I the Arsehole style posts and spicy drama from both sides of the convention table.
We are talking table tantrums, awkward customer moments, and Artist Alley etiquette disasters. Some of these are from the artist perspective and others from customers who had, let's just say, unique expectations.
We are going to read the story, give our takes, and then play judge, jury, and moral compass.
All right, conventioneers, grab your sketchbooks, snacks, and your strongest opinions. It's time to find out who's the villain.
Am I the villain? I don't think I'm the villain.
Who's misunderstood, and who should just be embarrassed. Let's go, 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 go.
Let's go, 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 go. We are back for another episode of the podcast. Hello, we hope you're all doing very, very well. And as we mentioned in our intro, we are doing Reddit stories because we did them recently and they were really, really popular. You guys absolutely loved them. So it felt only right, because Jill wasn't here last time, to experience the joys of hearing people's craziest stories, that he would take part in one all about traders and artists and stuff. And we are very, very ready. I've got to say, before we move ahead though, I'm loving the look today. It's all very matchy. I love all the colour matching today.
I'm feeling the pastel fantasy today. This lovely hat is from our friend Holly at Chow Illustrations. Absolutely love the pastel demon beanie. I use it quite a lot. And this is one of my favourite stay-at-home hoodies that is actually not printed. It's embroidered, and you don't get a lot of like embroidered clothing at conventions. And it's actually done by my friend Beans, and she has an embroidery machine at home. She does everything herself, and as far as I'm not mistaken, I do think she started taking commissions for people to do batches of beanies and hoodies and stuff for embroidery. So nice. I think people listening should check her out. She has a very small minimum order quantity as well. So it's not bad, not bad.
Not bad at all. Yes, well,
nope.
It looks very good. So I think
Thank
you
you.
should definitely check out
both. And what rag are you wearing today? What is that shit?
You look awful.
This old thing. This old tat. This awesome sweatshirt.
I can rag on it. You got it's my word.
This actually very awesome sweatshirt is made by none other than the artist Gilbone Illustrations. Go to gilbone.com right now and you can pick one up yourself if you love it so much.
Not that guy. Not that guy. He should be embarrassed.
But not of his art, because look, amazing. So good, so good. Right, so yeah, we are doing Reddit stories, and these ones specifically are from two sides of the perspective. So some we're going to go through today are, in fact, from the perspective of the artists and the people trading themselves. But some are actually from the other side of the table and customers' experiences of dealing with artists. So it'll be curious if there's a pattern of which ones we side with or not. I'm curious how that plays out.
Interesting. So for full disclosure, Jamie is the one that prepared this episode. I have not, I don't know what is coming up at all. I don't know what stories, what's the context. I am kind of afraid that I will be triggered by some of them. Maybe. I am not liable for people's stupidity making me rage, just so you know in advance. I have my hammer ready, and I might throw it at my screen.
We will see.
Bye.
Who knows? We might find that all these stories we hear today were actually, these are quite reasonable expectations, and people are just being very unfair to them. But we shall see. Shall we start?
Doubt it.
Shall we get right into the first one? Shall we dig
Yes.
in? Let's dig in.
Please,
So-
go ahead.
The first one is titled, Am I the Arsehole for Helping My Daughter See Sense from Buying a Weird T-Shirt at a Convention?
Yes.
Hear them out. Hear them out.
Oh, okay.
First impressions are very much like, yeah, it's giving their energy. Right, here we go. So, I, 56 male, took my daughter, 16 female, to a fan convention this past weekend. She is really into fantasy stuff. Fairy, elves, all of that. Okay.
All right.
We were walking around artist tables, and she spotted a t-shirt at one of the stalls that she supposedly really liked. It had what looked like an elf man riding a horse with pointy ears, grey hair, and a dagger with blood on it near his mouth. Honestly, I thought it was a very strange image, and not something I'd expect a teenage girl to want on a t-shirt.
Okay.
She's very socially awkward and shy, so even though she clearly liked it, she didn't go up and ask about it. We walked past the stall a few more times throughout the day, and each time she'd just pause and stare at it. On the third pass, she tugged on my arm and quietly asked if I could go and ask the seller if they had it in a small. I told her that if she really wanted it, she needed to be brave and ask herself. She's old enough to do these things on her own, but she got nervous and decided not to. Trigger face already happening. Right. Right at the end of the day, we passed by the table again, and this time she stopped me and went up to the artist herself. She asked if they had the shirt in the small, and they did. She had just enough money to buy it. But before she finished the transaction, I called out from the other side of the table where I was stood and said, Are you 100% sure you're actually going to wear a t-shirt like that in public? It's a waste of money if you don't. She paused for a second, thought about it, and then told the artist she changed her mind. She walked off and she was quiet for the whole trip home. When we got back, my wife asked how the day went, and my daughter just said, It was fine, I guess. I'm going to play on my PC, and went to her room for the rest of the evening. Later, when I told my wife about the shirt, she said I was the reason our daughter seemed upset. She seems to think I embarrassed her and discouraged her from getting something she really wanted. But I don't see her that way. She's old enough to make her own choices, and I just made her sure she thought it through before spending money on something she'd regret. Am I the asshole?
Yes, you manipulative. What a manipulative asshole. Fuck.
It is so manipulative. I want to say as well, read
Cringe.
the description of the t-shirt and the fact that she's playing on, seems to be a PC gamer as well. I think that was a Baldur's Gate t-shirt.
It is very likely. It is
White-haired
very likely.
elf with blood. Well, elf pointy ears with blood on the mouth. Like that's giving. Like I was like, so
And with a dagger, so he is a rogue. It is an Astarian t-shirt.
I think it was an
It is very likely that it's an Astarian t-shirt, right? Okay, I'm just going to like deep dive into why this is bad, right?
Go for it. Take us.
So, firstly, he went with her. She is 16. There are a lot of circumstances where a 16-year-old probably would go to a con alone, right? However, if, like he said, she is a little bit socially awkward or feels uncomfortable, he is there to help, not to hinder.
Right.
And to know that your daughter is socially awkward, there is a moment where you perhaps say, okay, maybe this is an ambient where she would probably feel a little bit more inclined in exploring um, talking to people rather than
Yes.
have me ask, right? That is good. You have set a task, we will say. I don't know how you would call it, but you set this goal that if she does that thing that she usually would not, she will be rewarded by the interaction and the winning or gratification of
Yeah.
getting this t-shirt if they have it, right?
Yeah.
But not only did you make her do something that she is uncomfortable doing,
Yeah.
and putting her through that situation in a moment where, you know, she probably wasn't expecting it, but when she finally got to talk to the artist, have that high of yes, they have it, I'm going to get it, she had to tell the socially awkward person, had to tell an artist, no, I don't want it, I changed my mind, which is like the worst thing you could do.
Especially when it's so clear in my head that she did want it. She clearly
She
wanted
100%
it.
wanted
She
it.
so wanted it. And
it doesn't matter if, why would she have to wear it in public? How many things do people buy to wear at home while she's playing the game?
the idea to me that, because I would love the idea that this was a parent who was like, I'm going to challenge them to speak to people. The general vibe I'm getting is actually the reason he refused to go up is because he just wanted to discourage her from getting it. That's the vibe I'm reading.
100%.
But the fact that she
It's all
overcame
manipulation.
that, exactly, and the fact that she wanted it so much that she overcame that and went up, because she clearly thought ahead, I probably won't see this again. I do really want it. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to ask. And then he's...
I am so sorry for her.
Because he says from across the table, I'm just picturing like she's there with the artist and he's like stood at the side and he shouts across. I would die as if that was my dad who just shouts across. Do you really want that? I would be like, cringe. I'm just gonna escape this whole environment. I don't like this. It would be so socially awkward. It's
Crazy.
So mean. The fact that I also get a vibe from him, just the way he wrote it. Again, I'm very convinced that this is an Asterian t-shirt. I'm very convinced it's actually a video game t-shirt. But the way he just says that she's into fantasy stuff like fairies and elves also suggests that he doesn't take a huge interest into anything she's actually into.
He's
fairies and elves.
Parent. He's a generic parent. It's you know, I think we as nerdy folk, we don't particularly imagine that parents know anything about what we like and what we do. As a general rule, I was very blessed to, it's not the case for me, but in general, I think this kind of parent, even being in the situation, because if he knew about her hobby and he knew about what she loves, he wouldn't be in that position anyway, and he wouldn't be writing on Reddit. You know, because he would know the topic, he would know why she wanted it, he would know that she would probably wear it at home. This is generic dad, NPC. He's an NPC of a dad.
He's an NPC of a dad. That's the biggest burn ever. That's ever.
But I genuinely think that he thinks he did a big boy thing, right? When it just shows just how out of touch parents can be. And he just made this poor anxious girl go through a roller coaster of feelings unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, he could have avoided the situation by being like, oh yeah, wait here, I'll go ask a question that the artist would say no. The artist would say no, and then he'd be like, sorry babe, they don't have it. That's it. You know, like, as simple as that. But no, he tried to be double down on the manipulative and whatever. It's just a t-shirt.
It's just a t-shirt.
It's not even his money. She didn't ask him to pay. It's
not his money. I find it funny that he mentions in the story that it's a strange image that I wouldn't expect a teenage girl to want. A man riding a horse in what I would imagine is, knowing how a lot of fan art would predict like a sort of character like that on a horse, is 100% something a teenager would want. I don't doubt that for a second. So that's another example of being out of touch.
Very out of touch.
But then, yeah, like you said, every step along that journey, he could have from the get-go just like controlled that situation if he wanted to, I guess. But he went out of his way to make her feel like it was her decision in his mind. Like the way he kept saying, no, I was just giving her advice and she took my advice, but it was her decision. No, it wasn't. You manipulated the fuck out of your daughter. Why? It's a
It's a
t-shirt.
It's a t-shirt.
You took her to a convention. I don't know what parents expect in that situation. Like, just, you can do it today, but don't take it home with you. I don't know what the energy is.
So
It's
disappointing.
Really
So disappointing. Unfortunately, this kind of situation has happened to me at least 3 times.
Yeah.
I had one instance where I sold a Kinkachu t-shirt. For those who aren't aware with my portfolio, I have a pink Pikachu t-shirt who is adorned with leather garments that are more associated with kinkwear. It is not provocative. It is not sexual in nature. It is just a happy looking pink Pikachu with piercings and a leather harness. That's it. It's literally just a leather harness, which could, it's very cute, punk looking, so on and so forth. I am at a small convention in Milton Keynes when this mother runs to my table shouting at my face how she can't believe I sold this t-shirt to a child. And I was mortified because I was alone, so I couldn't say, maybe in passing one of my helpers did that. And I just didn't, I was so caught off guard that I didn't quite know how to deal with the situation. And she's shouting at me like, I can't believe you would do this. This is so inappropriate. Why would you sell it to a child? Blah, 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 blah. And the thing is that I'm like, ma'am, I only remember selling one of those. And I don't think it was a child. And she's like, yes, it was. Yes, it was. And she's gesturing with her hand, waving in the air for this child to show up. And the child did. And I said, I'm sorry, out of curiosity, how old are you? Not to be rude. How old are you? And she said, like, 22. Like, that's no child, man. She can make her choices. And she said, oh, we want our money back. And I said, in this case, I said, I can swap it, but I won't refund you for it. That. No.
Yeah.
Go away, Karen.
Don't sell it to my 22-year-old child who can legally drink in the United States.
It's a child. Secondly, we had you were there actually for the second instance, and that was at MegaCon London earlier this year. This lovely girl kept coming back and forth asking all forms of questions about our mystery bag. Our mystery bag t-shirts, and she finally mustered the girl math in her head to see that she can afford one. She bought it and she opened it in front of other customers who were buying it. She was so happy with hers. She was elated, honestly, and it was a Hades Disney t-shirt. Right?
Yes.
For context for people. There was nothing kinky about it.
No,
there was nothing 18 plus about it.
Just Hades, Disney's Hades, yeah.
Yeah. And this collection of Disney serial villain t-shirts are bought by families all the time, bought for kids all the time. It's a very family-friendly design, right? She comes back the next day and she is almost tearful and so embarrassed and so anxious. And I saw her circling the table a couple of times and I didn't really say anything.
Yeah.
But I was like, are you okay? Is everything okay? Is something wrong? And she just comes up to me. She fishes the t-shirt out of the bag and she says, I don't want the money back, but you need to take this back. And I'm like, why, what happened? Is it damaged? Is something wrong with it? She said, like, no, I took it back home and my mom kept shouting at me and said, why and where would you ever wear something like this? You need to take it back tomorrow. Obviously, without asking any further questions, I was like, if you got in trouble for it, I'm really sorry. I took the t-shirt back. I gave her the money back. She didn't want the money. And I'm like, no, obviously, It's just I don't understand this weird stance of parents. Again, she just wasn't a young person. Again, I feel like she might have been in the 16, 17 range. But you can wear a t-shirt at home if you like it. I don't understand what's the deal with people. Like, crazy.
I don't know. It's parents who want their children just to wear varieties of beige. Like, I don't understand. Like,
all the beige.
All
white,
the beige.
Plain beige, plain white t-shirt.
Just one of those basic colours. No graphic tees. Don't have anything that represents personality on them. How dare you? At those formative years when you're all about expressing personality. Don't. Yeah. That's how it feels sometimes.
There was an instance where exactly the same situation happened at Milton Keynes, this past one, the striking events one, that I told you about when you came back to the table while you were recording, that someone kept wanting to give me money for a shirt, and her mother kept telling her, but are you sure you'll wear it? Are you sure you want it?
Why
and every
parents
time
do this?
She'd be like, okay, maybe not that one then. And then she'd be like, that one. It's like, are you sure you'd wear that? Are you sure you want it? And then in the end, she asked if she can see a t-shirt open, the mother, not her, because I showed the size already to the customer.
So they knew what size
she
was. Like,
She knew she wanted it. She knew she was happy with it. She felt the material. She didn't say anything about the size. She felt the material. She whispered in her ear, gave it back, and the customer said, I'm sorry, I can't get anything today. And she walked away. And she looked so distraught.
Because what?
Snake parents.
It's a mixture of, it's upsetting because you don't get the product you want, but also you feel embarrassed. It's embarrassing to put in that situation, to go to the person who you actually want the thing from and turn to them and say, actually, I don't want this. It's so embarrassing when you actually do. You have to like change your mind in front of the trader. It's mean.
And it's not just parents who do it. Because how many times do you see friends and there's this one friend that is so smug, like, oh, I'm the designated responsible person today. I'm going to be making sure that they don't spend a lot of money. How about you leave? Go.
Yes.
Get out.
Get out.
We don't need you. No one needs you here. Your friend doesn't need you to hold them back from having fun. We don't need you for our economy. Just leave. But the way that they tell this to artists with the most smug face.
It's a weirder flex as it is. I think they do say it with like proud. I'm like, you do realize it's a really weird thing to be proud about. I'm the one who stops fun and joy. Good. Yeah. I'm okay. Good for you. You sound like a laugh. Do we think... I think that in summary, I'm guessing yes. Yes. Judgment is yes, the asshole. And Reddit agreed in full. He got laid into. Many, many people. The general consensus of the comments was basically, yeah, obviously you're the asshole. Obviously you're the asshole. And one person commented that I hope in future that she realizes she can take her friends to conventions and maybe not you, which is hopefully she has a friend circle where she can do that in the future, because I don't think it's an environment she's going to continue having fun with if she takes that delightful father with her. Right, we've made a judgment.
Cringe.
Shall we crack into another one?
Not another one?
Got another one. This one is an interesting one because this one is asking a question in terms of, would I be the asshole, posed on a situation they haven't decided on yet. So let's
proactive.
See. Yeah.
Proactive. Okay.
So, right, the title of this one is, would I be the arsehole if I tell another artist I don't want to apply to the Artist Alley at conventions with him anymore because I feel like I have better chances on my own?
Ooh, tender. Sore spot. I mean, power to you, but sore spot. Let's dive in.
Let's crack it, yes. Here we go. So, an internet mutual and I had the idea to apply to Artist Alley tables at conventions together because it's easier to take care of a table with two people. in brackets, if
Fact.
one has to use a loo. And the way the others can babysit the artwork while they do that. He has experience as a vendor at cons already, and I do not. So I thought he could be my guide and help me navigate all that kind of stuff. I also thought that our chances of actually getting a table would be better because he already had that experience. We've applied at the end of last year, and by now we have been rejected by every single convention we have applied to, with one exception. One convention didn't allow shared tables, so we applied separately and then planned to ask the con to put our tables next to each other if both of us got accepted in. Well, he got a rejection and I was accepted. It's by far the biggest convention we applied to, with the most competition for the tables. It was even his dream convention that he always wanted to vend at.
Okay.
The two of us have found 3 more conventions we'd like to try for before I got accepted into this big con, but since that acceptance letter, I'm now thinking that I might have better chances of getting in if I just apply on my own. I knew from the get-go that the products he made were of lower quality than mine, but I thought his vending experience would be important to cons than the quality of his items. Now, they proposed 2 things in this. One, why I would be the arsehole. Breaking a promise is bad, and he talked multiple times about how he just isn't good enough, and about how sad he is about all the rejections. I don't want to add insult to injury. Why I wouldn't be the arsehole. It turns out that his vending experience is only limited to small cons. It seems like in most cases he was accepted because all applicants were accepted. I didn't know about this before we decided to share a table. I don't think he intentionally misled me, but I would have made a different decision if I had known. And for him, this is a hobby. For me, it's going to be a job. The stakes are higher for me because my income will depend on it. Would I be the arsehole if I break that promise I made and apply alone?
I want to take a different approach to this one before I answer. Can you read the replies, please?
Yes, of course. So some of the ones I've taken from the Reddit thread. One from Frank Honesty. They say, so here's the thing your anxiety isn't telling you. If you simply state, hey, I think I'm going to apply for these last few conventions for my own table, I need the room to be able to sell more stuff, and we weren't getting off the ground as a duo. You're my friend, and I hope I get to see you at the conventions, but I need to make a living. If he then pushes back with anything more than mild disappointment, maybe he's being a dick. He can be disappointed, he can be sad, he can be annoyed because he was trying to use you and it didn't work. You giving up opportunity and money to spare his feelings is your anxiety telling you that you're worthless and your survival is less important than his momentary setback. Stare yourself down in the mirror and remind yourself that your art and your life matter, and you don't deserve to pretend they don't. Take up the space you're standing on. You're a human being. Another comment, I only took 2 from this one, from Jeepers Creepers, says, yes, you are the arsehole. Breaking promises makes you an arsehole, even if you are justified. So is saying, sorry, I realised I'm better than you to a friend. However, if you stand to lose a lot of money and sales momentum if you are not accepted to the remaining 3 that are with the scope of your promise, then you may have to make a business decision to be the arsehole and do it anyway.
Okay, firstly, there's a bigger asshole in this thread than the person writing. Right? And that person leaving that first comment is the same energy as the people writing, this is generic slop on the internet. That person should log out. Chronically
log
online,
out.
log out.
Delete your account.
Delete your account. It's like, oh my God. Oh yeah, empowering moment. You're about to be a dickhead. I'm going to light the torch. Trump supporter. Anyway, so I would say that the initial question, the way it is posed, it is something that many have gone through. Many artists have gone through this dilemma of starting out the process with sharing and wanting to detach, right?
Yeah.
And it is difficult because you've created this bond. There is so much in preparing for con, even in just the deep conversations you have about introspectively your work, your art, your vulnerability, where you are, you know, and to have those initial conversations with someone, forge that bond and be like, yeah, we're going to do events together. You put a lot of yourself into those conversations. To detach from that is difficult. It does seem like this person, there's so much wrong in this. Not because of the dilemma, but of the way it is being approached.
100%. 100%.
Firstly, you don't back out of your word. You just don't, right? Okay. The situation about this current convention that they're in, the promise was that they were going to go in together. They're going to apply separately, either try to be together or use the booking that gets in. As far as I am aware or understood, that's what it sounds like, right? I'm certain that if the other friend got in and then was like, actually, I'm using the space. Yeah. I think they would be writing a different kind of post. So that's already a red flag, massive red flag, that you're even having the thought of kicking out the friend from this first event. Yeah. Without even just doing the event and then being like, listen, I think I need a little bit more space for my work. Next time I am going to apply on my own. And that's it. Yeah. Secondly, if it was a hobby for them and a profession for you, yeah, if you don't know how to deal with this, you shouldn't be in the business. Like, don't even try. Because this is probably the easiest, most navigatable situation you will have to take as a business. If you can't deal with this without being a total bellend, you probably shouldn't get into the Artist Alley. Get out.
I think I agree with a lot of that. I think that there are some aspects. So, like, for example, the initial concern, I would say maybe you're not completely the asshole. It's valid that you're considering actually maybe it would work this way instead. I don't think that's a terrible thought to have. Where I went off, I was like, I don't really feel this at all, is how they started describing their friend. The fact that they said that I was aware he made lower quality products, but I didn't think it mattered. That was like, that's a weird thing to say. I don't know how I feel about that. Also, the fact that what you just mentioned, that they talked about how they just do it for a hobby. It's going to be my job. That's a bold statement to make when this person has already done cons and you haven't yet.
Like, so, you never sold your work. So you've never been in a public
at
space.
A convention.
Exactly.
So, like,
how do you know you're going to do it as a job? You don't know yet.
So
no one. This isn't a guaranteed ticket. Once you get in, it doesn't mean you're going to do well, even though you have high quality products. With that attitude, people might not want to buy from you anyway. So what's the prediction here? What are we? Yeah,
I think,
very cringy.
It's very cringy.
Started off as a really genuinely good question, though.
It is a good question. I think because, like you said, I'm sure I see so many people share tables, and there is a point where maybe one of you expands, or you both, and it's probably even harder if one of you is just expanding at a faster rate, and you're like, I'm probably going to need my own table, and then you have that worry about, well, what's going to happen to them, because so many questions about that. There is none of that concern, or there doesn't feel like any of that sitting on their heart in this message. It's just like, and again, it's not based on, we went to a con and I did so well and I don't want to trade next to them anymore. It's, I got accepted once, therefore fuck them forever. It's how it feels like.
100%.
One acceptance. We both got rejected for everything, but because I got accepted in this one circumstance, I'm now going to make that automatically means that I'm just a far superior artist and trader.
I will always be accepted.
That's the thing. They're like, it gives me the ick. I hope
it is Nick. It's just bad energy. You bring bad energy to the table. Don't come near me.
So, unfortunately, they never made an update to the Reddit thread, so we don't know what decision they went with. I hope in either scenario, if I'm being honest, that this friend of theirs just does their own thing or finds someone else.
100%.
That's not a good friend. And you generally don't want good friends in your life anyway. You especially don't want to be doing business with people who aren't good friends. That just becomes very toxic very quickly. And I hope they never read this, because the idea, if I was looking through Reddit things and I was like, oh, is my stuff worse quality, is it? Amazing. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, I would burn their stuff. I wouldn't, but I would be very vindictive if we did share, and they went to the bathroom. I wouldn't care for their sales. I'd be like, oh, they're gone. They said they're bored.
Yeah, it's just all gone. It's fine.
They left.
I should have known from the beginning when they said, "Oh, when the other person goes, I'll babysit their stock." It should have been a red flag from the get-go.
That is a massive red flag. Now that you say that, that is shocking. That is shocking. I'm so dumbfounded that people have this better than you attitude in the art scene. And we have been seeing this so much more recently.
Yeah.
Because I have more followers, because I have been doing this for longer, or what have you.
Because I got one acceptance letter.
Yeah, because it's crazy. I am somehow entitled to make you feel like your choices and your ideas are irrelevant because you don't do the same things the same way that I do. It's crazy.
People will always twist their own statistics to make themselves feel superior. And this is a great example, because in this example, they're saying, oh, based on statistically, of all the ones we applied together, the one time we applied separately, I got in, but when we applied together, we didn't. What they're not looking at is a wider picture was, oh, actually, he has been accepted into many cons and done cons for, I assume, a reasonable amount of time and done a few. But when he started applying with me, he got rejected each time.
Yeah. Yeah. Whether you like it or not, this person is better than you, even though you're threatened by their lower quality products. I'm very sorry.
I found the responses generally interesting, because that first one I read just was
shocking,
crazy, just being like, presenting it as though actually you're not the arsehole, and it's
you're
anxiety.
a victim.
You're a victim, literally. That's victim mentality. You need to be bold, brave, and tell your friend to get fucked. Like, it was just, that's a wild take. What
out of all the people involved, that is the person that needs to be embarrassed. Crazy.
The other one was more interesting to me, and that's why I took it, copied it from the Reddit thread, was the fact that they basically said, yes, you are the arsehole in the situation. But what I found interesting was when they said, it might be a situation where business-wise, you might have to say, actually, I'm going to have to be the arsehole in the situation because the genuine concern. I found that just an interesting aspect of being like, maybe you have to be the arsehole in the situation if you don't necessarily want to be.
So let's take it from a business perspective, right? As a business, there are situations where you have to be the asshole. You have to. It is unfortunate, but you have to, right? Because the art world is, as we've described many times now, run out of passion and love and dedication and so on and so forth. You do it because you love it, and that is fine. However, from a numbers perspective, from a business perspective, you need to take care of yourself. If you're doing this for a job, the end game isn't sitting in a circle, holding hands, singing Kumbaya and drawing pretty pictures. It is making rent money and bill money and food money. You know what I mean? So there are certain decisions that you will have to take. Maybe it's not sharing hotels with that one friend because you want to spend time with them, and instead having an Airbnb with the other friends and eating in rather than going out. And, you know, it's not personal. It is just, you look at it from a business point of view, and that's it. Maybe you don't want to share anymore with the person that you're working with, and it is going to be a difficult conversation. They're going to be upset with you, but you don't do it when you already have the booking. You do it when you're like, we're about to apply to these. We need to apply separately. And unfortunately, because of so and so and so, I need to book for myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is not a reflection of you, because we're friends. I care for you. I genuinely hope you get in, like that person said. But the key here is to run my business. And unfortunately, that will require me to go at it alone with a bigger space or with a different location that you aren't able to do. You know, there's so many moments like this, but it all depends on how you put it down and how you look
Yes.
at the person
Yes.
you're dealing with. If you look at them
100%.
with the, oh, I'm not going to feel bad because your work is shit anyway.
Yeah, not
Great.
a weird energy to take to your friend when you're thinking about your business. It's a weird energy. Time to make a judgment. I would say that, and I guess the question is, would they be the arsehole? And my personal judgment is, yes, you would be the arsehole, based purely on the way you sound like you're going to approach it and the way you talk about your friend's artwork is, yes. It doesn't sound like you're going to do this in a caring, considerate way, or even a business savvy way. It sounds like you're just going to be a bit of an asshole. You're going to ruin a friendship, and out the gate, probably not the best way to start trading is losing relationships in other fellow business. Probably not the best way to start. Not because you'll get a reputation very quickly.
Well said. I would say that post is a beautiful slice of cake that looks so tasty and so like wholesome, and it's rotten inside.
Not the rotten cake.
It's a rotten
not
cake.
Not the stale
baby.
sponge. No.
Oh, asshole. We don't want you in the Artist Alley with that attitude.
No.
Go back, mature, do better, and come back with a reflection of your character that is as high quality as your supposed goods.
I hope they have. We'll never know. Who knows? Maybe I'll keep an eye out for the username and see.
Maybe it's one of our peers.
Can you imagine? That'd be wild.
Wild.
We're going to take a quick break before we come back for 2 more crazy Reddit stories, both from each side of the table. We will see you after this quick break.
Exciting. Butler, M&M's, please.
And we're back. We're here for more Reddit stories. Now, this time, we're doing another one from the trading side of the table. And this is another one from Am I the Arsehole? And this one asks in the title, am I the arsehole for expecting a cut of the profit?
Do tell. Tell me more.
Yes, let's find out.
Tell me more.
My artist friend asked if I could help him out during his next booth, since his friend who usually does it cannot make it this time. I thought it would be fun. I've been to many conventions before, but I've never known what it's like to work in the Artist Alley. I agreed to help out. Fast forward to the convention, and it was indeed a pretty fun experience. I pretty much helped keep track of the inventory and other small tasks. Also watched the table while my friend had to run to use the bathroom and wanted to look around for a few minutes. He didn't mind if I wanted to do the same as well. After Artist Alley was closed, we went out to eat and hung around the convention till late. Anyway, the convention is over, and I expected to receive my cut of the profit. But he showed no sign of giving it to me. I expected at least 10%, but when I talked to him about asking
the goal, the gumption, the expectation. Yeah, go on.
At least 10%. But when I talked to him asking for the money, he said he thought I was doing this as a friend-to-friend favour. Or at least that's what he asked of me. I thought I knew him better than to make someone work for free. He, as an artist, should know that more than anyone. I feel entitled to a cut of the profit. Ideally 20%, but 10% I can deal with. And he refused. This is the important bit, I think. He told
Yeah.
me he's paying for everything. Gas, travel, hotel room, tickets, table, food. And I got to come to the convention for free in exchange for helping out here and there. He told me if I had expected payment, I should have said something beforehand. I don't see what's
100%.
wrong with me expecting payment for the work I've done. Am I the asshole for expecting a cut of the profit?
Okay, this is also a cake that is rotten on the inside.
Uh-oh. Did that cake go bad?
That was a cake?
And I will explain why.
Go for it.
Dear artist friends, dear traders of any kind, if anyone is going to help you at any point, ever in your artist journey, you have to understand that you are a business, regardless of how small, regardless if you go to an event and only manage to sell one sticker, you are still a business. They are still doing work. They need to be paid in some capacity. That is the general norm, whether we like it, we hate it, we don't make enough money to afford it. It is the norm. We pay people for their work. Why? Because we were the ones bitching when people would ask us, oh, can you draw this for me? I'll pay you an exposure. We were all the ones with the little pickets and the signs and being like, oh no, I need to be paid for my time and my work. So you need to offer the same courtesy to everyone else. That is one side of this. Yes, you should have had this conversation beforehand, and you should have set your expectations, before the actual happening.
Yes.
So instead, the person has their own policy, which it was not discussed with them in advance. But believe it or not, having hotel, food, being at the event is considered by a vast majority of the artist industry as payment, because yes, you were working. Yes, you were helping out. Yes, you did all that stuff. However, you still traveled. You still got your day in an ambient that you liked. It is considered normal for people to take hotels, food, snacks, and everything that you mentioned, hotels and so on, as a payment, right? However, there is nothing wrong in wanting more payment if that is what you are comfortable with, but it needs to be set in advance, and it needs to be set with a certain notion that you're going to be paid what the artist is comfortable with. Right? So, red flag 1, you asked after, not before. That is your mistake. You should have
100%.
taken it on the chin and been like, maybe next time I will ask first, right? Now, when you read this out, I am considering that this person, since it is one person and their helper, that they're a small artist.
You would
Right.
get that impression, yes.
It's not someone that has a booth with like 10 people and probably can afford to pay 10 people, right? It is just one small artist and their friend and blah, blah, blah. Because the rules do bend, right? We have to admit that it does. If you can afford it, you should just fucking pay people and get over it. You don't need to have a contractual agreement beforehand. You should just do it. But if you're a small artist and someone out of nowhere, after volunteering to help you for the weekend, suddenly is like, give me money, you can be like, I'm sorry, there was, we could have discussed this prior, blah, blah, blah. If it was me and someone did that to me, firstly, I have generally paid for a few people to help me out. When conventions were a little bit slower and I couldn't pay people to help me, I said in advance, listen, unfortunately, conventions right now are mostly a loss. If you want to come for the event to help out, but mostly just enjoy the event and enjoy the atmosphere, have some good food, we always eat well, you're very welcome to, but please know in advance that I will not be able to give you extra money on top of it. They knew. They were aware of what they are getting themselves into. It's just you let people know in advance and they know the expectation then.
This is the thing. It's as long as there's an agreement beforehand, as long as
Exactly.
you understand, because it's not. And again, yes, this clearly was a case of terrible communication between them both.
100%.
But never go into any scenario with an expectation, especially when it comes to payment. That is crazy to me. Crazy.
What is crazy is that I would have taken 10%, ideally 20%.
That was wild.
But 10% would be fine. I'll tell you exactly what happened. This person went without wanting to be paid. Didn't. They had no expectation to be paid at all. During the day, they realized that their friend that sells pretty little things at conventions out of their hobby actually made sales.
Makes money.
And they're like, holy shit, there's actually money in this. Look at all the money they're taking. I want a piece of that because I worked for it. And that's when they decided they want money. And that's why they're throwing percentages around. They had no expectation until they saw the money and then they expected it.
That is
not
so
understanding
interesting.
how much goes into being at con. Probably they're unaware that like there's a few £100 worth of table. There's a massive amount of money for hotels and travel and all those things. Right? They only saw the takings and they decided, yeah, I want a piece of that pie now. So my verdict here is artist friend, block this person, never talk to them again. They are not only trying to manipulate you, they're taking advantage of the situation by now that I know that you make money, where is my money?
Yeah, literally. I think you might be onto something there. It's so true though, and I think a lot of clearly in this person's case, they clearly did not take into account like travel costs, hotel costs, which aren't, like you said, aren't cheap. And the way he described it is like, I helped out with some small tasks and kept tracked on inventory, like, and you want 20% for that? Okay.
Crazy.
Interesting.
You know what's funny to me? I'm sitting here thinking about this, and I know that there's a portion of people out there, right, who will listen to this and be like, can't believe you would disagree with someone being paid for their time, because they live in this Delulu ideal world of theirs, and there is so much nuance to life than your garbage ideals.
Do you want to see what people in the comments said?
100%. I'm so excited. This is more exciting than the actual question because the question was cringe.
So, two of my favorites was one, very straightforward. They said, "You're the asshole. You didn't work for free. You worked for an all expenses paid trip to the convention. Full stop." And I was like, very that in many respects. So the person elaborated a little bit more in their response. They said, "You're the asshole. There are a few circumstances where you can expect to be paid for a favor to a friend. But in this context, I think you're pissing outside the bowl. Based on the size of the favor, and given that you got way more benefits than what your friend got out of it, he got a helping hand while you got access to the convention, tickets, hotel, and everything paid for. It is utterly ridiculous to expect to be paid for it. Like I said, some favors are big enough that you should be entitled to payment. But even then, that's supposed to be discussed beforehand. If you want to treat a favor as a business transaction, then you got to play by those rules. And nobody agrees to do a job without asking for their compensation beforehand. Aside from all that, even if you had been entitled to payment, in brackets, which again, you weren't, asking for part of the profits is pretty ridiculous. I also find it pretty silly to think your help was worth 10 to 20% of their profits. Anyways, I took that one purely because they used the phrase, I think you're pissing outside the bowl.
It's quite funny. For full transparency, my policy used to be that travel to the convention, regardless of where you're coming from, you'd just show me the invoice of the ticket you bought or whatever, And I would give money for fuel, or I would give money for train ticket. We would have the hotel paid for the person, and they would have their own hotel room, not a shared hotel room. They would have food, and there is no budget on the food. If they wanted to have whatever they wanted, there was never any expectation of, oh, you should keep putting this boundary, because that's crazy. But though I have heard that there was a budget of you're allowed 20 pounds of food throughout the whole day, which is crazy. Like, that's not even lunch at conventions sometimes. We would also have breakfast. We would also have lunch and food throughout the day. And when my colleague Paul was around, there would always be a guaranteed one alcoholic beverage in the evening if you wanted it, because let's celebrate hard work and good day. On top of that, I used to give £100 per day. So depending on how long you were there to help, you'd get 100 quid. So if they're there for setup and 2 days, they'd get 300. If they're there for setup and 3 days, they'd get 400, which I think that's good payment.
Very good, I would say.
Right? Unfortunately, when conventions decided to take a dip and become the bane of everyone's existence, and essentially I was not even making 100, 200, 300 pounds profit to be able to pay my rent, I was not able to do it anymore. During that time, one person helped me, my friend Ben, and that was at a larger event at the end of last year, and I still tried to pay them, and he respectfully said, I know the situation is quite tough. I would rather you wouldn't. So, it is a difficult conversation to have with your helpers, but it is a very important one, because even you bringing it up shows appreciation.
Yes.
You want to go with the intent to show to your helpers that you're not taking their help for granted. You're not taking their time for granted. You're not taking the trust that you're putting into them for granted, because to leave someone with your con table and you go wandering about, that's a lot of trust. Because they are your image. They are you in that moment, right?
Yeah.
And if someone comes and has a bad experience while your table helper is there, it reflects on you, not on your helper.
Yeah.
Your helper couldn't give a toss. Right? But yes, I think it's very important to have that conversation beforehand, not after. Never after. Once it's done and you do not agree to it, take it on the chin. I'm very sorry. It might not sound nice, but the ship has sailed.
I would agree. I think I agree basically all of that. I think this person, I understand why they might want to be paid, I guess. But the fact that they felt they need to bring it up afterwards, I think says a lot of it, to be honest.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and just their general attitude, very much, is giving all the arsehole behaviour, in my opinion.
Yeah. This one singing, if I could turn back now. If I could turn back now.
But you can't. So live with it. Yeah, live with it.
So you can't get paid. Next.
Shall we move on to our final one?
Already?
I know. Where's the time gone? This last one, I'm not going to tell you the title because I think it gives away the whole story. But
fair enough. Spoilers.
But I will tell you, what I will tell you is it is written by a mother. Right. Shall we get into it?
I'm already triggered. Yes, go on.
Okay. I, 34, female, took my 7-year-old son to a small local convention last weekend. It was a fun, family-friendly event, and we spent the afternoon browsing stalls and watching a variety of things on stage. Midway during the day, we went to McDonald's for lunch. While we were eating, I noticed my son was playing with this small plush toy shaped like a heart, and it had tomato sauce on it. At first, I assumed it was a Happy Meal toy, but when I asked, my son told me he actually picked it up from one of the tables at the convention. I was mortified that we hadn't paid for it. I told him we needed to take it back, and after finishing our food, we returned to the convention hall, which was still open, to find the stall.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, we found the table selling these plush toys. I apologised and explained what had happened, including the stain on the item.
Okay.
She thanked me for returning it, then asked if I could either purchase the toy or at least contribute towards the cost, since it was handmade and now was stained and unsellable.
Mm-hmm.
She said she couldn't easily afford to lose stock like that. I was honestly shocked and told her that was an outrageous request. First of all, I brought...
How? What the fuck? How is it an outrage? You have a teething little fucking blue pen in your pram in your hand. You suck as a parent because you let your child steal it. Fuck. Outrageous. Outrageous. How dare she? How dare she? Wild. Proceed.
I told her that was outrageous. First of all, I brought it back. Most people wouldn't even bother. Secondly, it's not my job to keep an eye on every little thing my kid does at every second. Kids...
What the f***? Don't have children, bitch! Fuck. Don't take your little demon spawn out in public if you can't watch it. Christ! Oh.
Does every second. Kids grab things. It happens. And third, if her stuff is that fragile or important, maybe she should do a better job of keeping it safe. It's not my responsibility to be her security guard. She looked like she was about to cry, but I told her that if she ever becomes a mum, she'll learn what real stress looks like. Then I left. Now, some of my friends are saying I should have offered something, but I don't see why I should be penalised for the mistake that any kid could make. It's not like she runs a real store, it's just hobby crafts. What?
Oh my god, I'm sweating. I'm literally sweating. I'm overheating. I'm sweating. What the fuck?
So, how are we feeling about that?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I cannot speak because whatever I say will be bad. It will not be appropriate for any of our listeners to hear. I cannot reply to this one. Crazy.
It is
All I can say is I hate you. Whoever you are, with all my soul, I hate you.
With all my soul. It is
all of it.
The wildest...
Every ounce of it.
I do think it's wild. I think it's kind of crazy that... Because initially I thought, oh, she did feel bad that her kid took it.
Oh, no. She didn't. She wanted the praise of taking it back. She didn't feel bad.
That's what I realised is, oh, that's all you thought you were owed to do, is just return it. And that was it.
She wanted her to say, oh, I can't sell this, so please have it. That's what she wanted.
That is 100% what she was doing, wasn't it? It's...
villainous, venomous, that shouldn't have had children.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
It is disgusting. It is disgusting. And I think right. I think it's interesting that kids are crazy.
Gross.
Kids be crazy. And I could see there's a scenario where your kid would have taken it and no one noticed. Because
oh, yeah, I have no qualm with the child. It is what
but
it is. It happens.
This continued approach of, will kids be kids?
Nope.
That's not a response. It's not a response.
Well,
I think
kids shouldn't be happening if kids are kids. Maybe she shouldn't
literally.
have had children.
I think
Horrible parent. Absolutely disgusting parent. Gross.
I think returning it. Now I hadn't even thought about the idea of she was probably just hoping to get it for free.
She just wanted to get it for free.
I find it so interesting that she basically turned to this woman and said, basically, oh, you want to be upset? Wait till you have children. One, that does not suggest the greatest relationship you have as a mother. If you're like, you want to be really miserable, have a kid. Like, okay, that's an interesting take.
Exactly.
Horrible. And two, it's just weird that you would assume that this woman doesn't have her own children. Maybe this is her business to support her family. Like, there's just so many like wild assumptions about what people at these conventions do. She's assumed that she's childless. She's assumed it's hobby crafts, which is just such a weird.
You know what? I'll tell you why I'm triggered about this. It's because in my mind I've associated the story with an artist friend of ours.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining this happening to them.
Yeah.
And the way I want to leap at this woman and take her away from my artist friend so they don't have to deal with that and be like, you pay or we will call security on you because your child stole an item, you were a negligent parent, and you will have to deal with security and stuff. Yeah. Because that is the only solution here.
And it's not, like I said, this artist who spoke to her, and I think, you know, very transparent of this artist to basically say like, oh, I can't afford to lose stock. Like I don't have money falling out everywhere. Like if I lose stuff, then I start making losses. Like I can't afford to do that. But regardless of that scenario, whether it be an independent business, if your child was in Primark and picked up a T-shirt and covered it in barbecue sauce or something, they wouldn't be like, "Oh, have it." They'd be like, "Well, no, you've destroyed. You have to pay.
Damage your property.
Have to pay for it. Damage your property." Yeah. It's not so much we're forcing you to buy it. It doesn't become a case of like we want you to buy it. It's a case no, you have to pay for the damage. The damage is, and I think the artist was actually quite reasonable because the artist gave her two options. It sounds like she initially said like you need to buy it, or you at least need to cover some of the damage that you've caused. So I think that was overly reasonable. I wouldn't have given her the second option. I said, no, you have to pay full price for this now. That would have been my option. But even that was like, oh, what an outrageous thing to say to me as a mother. It's kind of like the entitlement of the parents.
Step down from your high horse. I'm very sorry. The entitlement of these parents. And this is the same like our statues. Your parents giving no fucks. The damage is happening. They're like, no, I think they're fine. No, get out. Don't have children. Stop breathing. Horrible, horrible species.
Horrible species. Did you want to see what people in Reddit thought of this situation?
I really hope. Is there updates? Did she change her ways and is now an Artist Alley artist herself making plush toys with ketchup stains on them? No.
It would seem no. No, shockingly no. One person said, you lost me at, it's not my job to keep an eye on every little thing my kid does. Actually, that is exactly your job. You brought a 7-year-old to a public event with handmade goods. He took someone else's property and you're mad that the artist asked for compensation. You returned a stolen, stained item. Sure, but you still left her with a loss. She's not a corporation. She's a person trying to make a living. This isn't a kids will be kids moment. It's a parenting moment. And unfortunately, you flunked it. It's like, yeah, very much that. Very much that.
Round of applause.
Yes. Another person says, rather than modelling responsibility and compassion for your child, you've demonstrated entitlement and contempt. Mistakes happen, yes, especially with children. But the lesson here isn't about perfect parenting. It's about humility, honesty, and repairing harm done. That's what you fundamentally misunderstood. So yes, you're the asshole. And another one, which I
don't think asshole really cuts
it. I see this one going into the am I the devil thread. I see this one ending up in there, to be honest. I think it could be escalated because for those of you who don't use Reddit, there is a special Reddit thread called Am I the Devil, where people who think someone is truly like beyond arsehole, it gets forwarded into this next tier.
100%. 100%.
It's definitely on its way. This other person,
assuming someone's gender too, and telling her, "Oh, wait till you have kids," and assuming that she will have children, and comparing the hardships of running a full-time business and creating a plushie, which is fucking like the highest degree of difficulty when you're in Artist Alley, right? And this person's like, oh, wait till you're a parent, then you can talk about stress. Vile. Get her out.
So, I was just like, what's the judgment? But we're going like, she's not the asshole. She's the villain. She's the devil. She's an awful human being. She
is. Just awful behavior. Awful behavior.
I think my final takeaway from that whole story is you can go through that situation. You can, everything you've described, and you are so confident that you're in the right that you would post it to the internet. So, verdict, definitely 100% the asshole. And you should be embarrassed. You should be so embarrassed. Be embarrassed. And I just hope your kid just doesn't learn anything that you're teaching
I really
them.
hope your kid grows up to be nothing like you. Because that would be the
100%.
best karma ever. And that he's embarrassed by his mother.
I hope your kid becomes an artist and starts trading and then becomes the other side of that whole situation. And then they'll learn. They'll remember that instantly. Go, oh, I remember being a kid. You were a terrible mother. You were terrible to that person. Terrible.
There's examples of all these situations.
Yeah, it's crazy actually.
It's I have enough experience to be able to tell you these situations are the 1%.
Yes.
Right? And unfortunately, as human nature, we don't talk about, am I the angel? We talk about the bad stuff, right? So please, for anyone who hasn't done cons and are listening to this podcast, do not think that you're going to have to deal with this every week or every time that you do a con. But these things do happen, and you have to be prepared to whack out your hammer. Be like, you're the asshole, get out. Ouch. No, in the situation, more often than not, if you feel harassed by a customer, because this is an important teachable moment, please make sure that you can talk to security and you can talk to the organizers. And if they don't have any shame or fear in being in your face about something and you feel threatened, it's 20 to 25. Take out your phone, start filming.
Start filming.
Backtrack as quickly as they can if they're feeling like maybe what I'm doing right now is going to come bite me in the ass. Or just say, if you're standing by your guns, maybe we should call the authorities because this is theft. And I strongly believe that you're in the wrong, ma'am. I'm sorry. Just keep talking to them in a calm and sweet voice. I know you will be trembling inside, but you'll deal with that after when you're de-stressing in your hotel room. But yeah, don't let people like this get the better of you, because that's what they want. That's what they want.
That is what they want.
She wanted her to cave and be like, oh, you know what? I can't sell this. You can have it. And then she would have been the mom with the plush toy that she didn't pay for at all. Crazy. What?
I would say out of all the stories you've heard today, if there was going to be an Am I the Angel out of all of them, it would be the woman who was selling that plush because she stood her, even though she got very upset, she didn't give in.
Well done.
And 100%. She said, no, I would pay for it. So much credit to you. I hope you had all the success at that con and beyond.
There's a lot of angels in this story, and if I were involved in any of these stories and I recognized myself in them, because that is a lingering thought in my mind. Every time you started a story, automatically my brain is like, this could be you, right?
Yeah.
I would want to deal with the situations as follow. The first one, I would like her to reach out to me and I would send her the t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
She deserves that t-shirt.
Yes.
You don't need to pay for it. You just deserve to wear that t-shirt and be happy. You did a big thing speaking out through your anxiety. You did an even bigger thing. Just, she didn't argue with her father in public, which I know it's cringe to say, but it shows character as well.
Yeah.
As sad as it is, it shows character. And then she had to, again, go through her anxiety and tell the artist that she's not going to have it mid-transaction, which sucks. And then instead of arguing with the parent when she got home, she just said, it was all right, I guess. I'm going to go play my game. You are the MVP. Amazing. The friend that is doing the Artist Alley with the toxic friend, I hope that you succeed, and Loki, hope that your friend fails. But I'm no angel. I'm no angel at all. I'm wearing devil horns. What was the other one? There was
We had the person who wanted the share of the helping out.
Oh, again, I don't think either of them are angels in this case. I really think the friend, the artist person, should have just outright said in advance, listen, this is not a paying gig. You are a business. You need to address this before it happens, right? And lastly, this person with the heart plushies, I really, really hope your plushies take off and you will be in a position where you can be like, I am a better person than you, ma'am. Your child can have the plush toy. But I hope that every time you see that plush toy, you remember what a failure of a parent you are. Thank you.
Facts. That, I mean, not only have we passed judgment, you just gave full sentencing to every case as well. Judge, jury, and sentencing. Crazy. So good.
Efficient.
How do you find this roller coaster of the most extreme, and we must stress, the most extreme examples of horror stories that can happen? How do you feel at the other end of it? Are you okay?
A part of me would rather do this every episode than actually go through the roller coaster of rehashing every troublesome experience that I'm having running a business. So it is a lot of fun. I will say this last one, the way my temperature
I could feel it. I could see it.
Oh my god. I was stunned for words.
If you watching and listening at home have seen any other Reddit stories that you think you would love to see us respond to, and we have focused on Am I the Arsehole, but that's not the only thing Reddit has to offer. There are Am I the Angel stories out there. There are all sorts of varieties of different things that I'm sure there's a variety of convention-related tales attached to. So send all of them our way. If you think there's anything, I would love to see what their reaction to reading this is. Maybe something that will rage us, maybe something that will warm our hearts. We would love to see them. So reach out to us via all our social platforms. We would love to make a compilation of ones that you submit to us for a future episode, because I think we would very much like to do this again in the future.
100%. I can't wait already. Can we record another one after this?
Talking of you guys listening at home, this is the end of our episode. I will just say that if you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, you can rate us 5 stars and leave us a review. So please do so. It costs you nothing and helps us a lot. It's free way to support us. You can also support us via our website. You can go to theconcreatives.com. Not only will you find a shop where we have a variety of cute little items that you can purchase to help support the pod, but you can also find the variety of social platforms we are on and check out the variety of different brands we have been collaborating and working with recently. So do check those out.
Yes. We even have news about that, which I forgot to mention. We officially have a 10% discount code for the Shirt Hero. People have been asking me so they can get them for MCM. If you are getting them for MCM in the coming days, I will be putting a discount code and direct link for you to get 10% off your order and be able to display your t-shirts with the elegance and grace of Gilles Bone.
Exactly, and who wouldn't want to do that? So you need to get on it and have a look at that discount code. Check our website, check our socials, you'll find out all about that. Until next time, that's it. We've come to the end.
That's it.
Can you believe
That's
it?
it.
Can you believe it? Oh, before I go, one other thing.
Yeah.
Our little courier Coop is always looking for your messages, so do reach out, send us a
yes.
message, look on our profiles for the pin post of that pigeon and leave anything in the comments, or send us direct message if you don't want to put on a public platform. Do specify if you want it to remain anonymous and we will honour
Please.
that. So please do, if that's the case. I think that is everything now, though. So until next time, we will go, and wish you a wonderful week.
Have fun.
I'm
Bye.
just gonna think about traumatizing woman on the plushing.
The Convention Creatives podcast is hosted by Gilles Bone and Jay Eggman. Art and design is by Gilles Bone, and editing and production is by Jay Eggman. To find out more, visit www.theconcreatives.com.
If I could turn back, go.